Hi, my name is Jo. Welcome to my Build Your Backside Muscles Safely tutorial. Today I want to talk about the glutes muscles and how to build them safely without getting a lower back injury, which is what I often see people are getting. Our glutes muscles are quite important, but many people want to get them for the looks, which is fine with me. Whatever is your reason, as long as you're getting your glutes stronger, it's good. Now, there's a couple of things I wanna show you. So a little bit of anatomy. I'm not gonna go into too much detail. Don't want to bore you with anatomy. But thing you want to know is that your glutes have obviously the opposed muscles, and that is your hip flexors. So all the exercises you will see online or in any training programs will include some sort of hip extension. So that's when your leg goes out to the back, as opposed to hip flexion, that's when your leg goes to the front. So the glutes bring your leg back, and the hip flexors bring your leg to the front, closer to your body, so they flex your hip. So thing number one, your hip flexors, this is a general sort of description. So your hip flexors are attached on your spine. So imagine actually they come from your spine, and then they go like in a bundle of strings and attach somewhere on your femur. So when they shorten, that's what they do. They bring your leg forward and up. Okay. And the glutes are the opposite, so where they shorten, sorry, I'm losing my balance, so they bring your leg backwards. Now, to be able to bring your leg back, you need to have some level of flexibility in your hip flexor, so that hip flexor relaxes and releases the leg to go backwards. Now, because as a population we sit quite a lot, our hip flexors become a little bit tight and short. So we are in this sort of flex position most of the time. Now, obviously, we don't bend forward like this. We walk up straight, so then we create this extra lumbar curve. We all have a lumbar curve, however, when our hip flexors become tight, our lumbar curve becomes deeper, and that's when vertebrae push the discs between them and they squash them, and that's when you can get a bulging disc or even hernia. You can get trapped nerve. It will cause pain, and it will cause all sorts of nasty experience you don't want to get. So what happens when so it could be standing exercises, could be on your force, doesn't matter. The idea is that your leg goes out. So when your leg goes out, that hip flexor need to allow, so you need to have strength in your glutes to perform this movement, but you also need to have flexibility in your hip flexor for this movement to happen. Now remember, the hip flexor is attached to your spine. So when you are lacking this flexibility, when you take your leg out, the body will compensate, and what will happen? The leg will go up, 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 and at the same time it will be pulling on your spine down, 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 and you will get this extra lumbar curve. So to avoid this, there's a couple of things you can do. One thing is start to do your exercises in front of a mirror and have a look, or video it and then watch and see if you are getting this extra lumbar curve. Also, this is what I want to show you today, is learn how to do it without any resistance first, and then do your exercises with the resistant bands or dumbbells or ankle weights, whatever it is that you're using, or even body weight. If you learn how to do it, and if you teach your body to maintain this correct posture, then you will definitely avoid lower back injuries. So if you get a hardcover book or a yoga block or something like this, it's got to be flat. Put it between your tailbone, sort of, yeah, not lower than your tailbone, in the middle, directly on the spine. Right, so we all have a lumbar curve, so you all should have a little bit of a gap. Some people have a little bit more, some people have a little bit less. Now from here you want to close this gap just for this exercise. You want to close this gap by bracing your core. So it's not about actually pushing the spine out, it's about bracing the core, bringing navel into the spine and closing this gap. And now from here you're going to try to perform your exercise, whatever it is, whether it's maybe a leg lift. So you have to play with where this is on your back. So maybe it was a little bit too close, my bum. There we go. And you want to lift your leg only as much as your psoas allow this without bending your lower back. So you will know that you are beyond your range of motion when you take your leg out and that gap becomes bigger and bigger. Now you know that although great because you're working on your glutes, not so great because your psoas is pulling now on your spine and you're squashing the discs between the vertebrae and causing some sort of micro injury, which if you keep repeating eventually will become a proper lower back injury, which is quite hard to get rid of. So the best is not to ever allow this to happen. So yeah, that's what I suggest for all those back extension. Now if you do your back extension standing, I would suggest you learn it kneeling first, and once you know your proper position, your proper posture for this activity, you will be able to embrace the core for this exercise. Because again, when you're standing and maybe using the cable machine, or you're just using some resistant bands, right, again what can happen is when you take your leg out, you overbend your lower spine. So again, just remember that your psoas will determine how far that leg can go to the back, and there's no point trying to stretch it during glute exercises. Of course, you need to stretch your psoas for your spine health, but not during the glutes exercises. That's not a good idea. So when you do any of those glute exercises, you want to work in your range of motion and not beyond that. So learn using the block, and then you will be sort of able to remember that. Your body will remember, your muscles will remember that you need to brace your core and take your leg only as far as you can. Okay, I can't take this leg any farther without me going like this, and this is what we need to avoid, not to get any lower back injuries. I hope this helps. Leave me a comment, let me know how it goes. If you've got any questions, ask, send me a DM or see me on my social media. Thank you, and I hope to see you again.